Hello everyone. Thank you for attending. Thanks for coming to our session. We are Team Signal. Actually, we are a company that has 6 people, but now only both of us come to the Catcher Connect USA. Today we are going to talk about lesson learned through a simple game, Hypersquare Postmortem. So my name is Brian Lee, one of the co-founder of Team Signal. I was business major and architecture dropout due to the passion of making games. And after several years working in the game industry, I decided to start being indie to make games speak true to my heart. Now I'm the artist / producer in Team Signal. But today, I'm not the one who is going to talk. Then please let me introduce my partner, Scott Chen, who is our best level designer for you.
More like the only level designer in this team. So yes, I'm Scott. Nice to meet you. I'm also the co-founder of Team Signal. So with years of experience working as a graphic designer, I graduated as a graphic designer, and I've been working in the industry for over 2 years. And after that, I decided to do something a little bit different. I decided to pursue the dream of making games. So that's why I went to grad school with Brian, and then we met there and founded Team Signal. So before I go into details of today's talk, I'm just going to talk about a little bit of history of our company. We met in grad school in Carnegie Mellon, and we went to the Entertainment Technology Center studying entertainment technology. So the program is mostly about doing prototypes for interactive experiences, and mostly about games. So there's a lot of games that we made together in our portfolio. I'm just going to show you really quick about it. So our first game we made is called Heavy Hanabi. Heavy Hanabi is a 2-player shooting game. It's heavily influenced by Japanese art. And we made the game in Global Game Jam 2012. And we were very fortunate to win the Judge Choice Award and also Audience Choice Award. And also we got into the finalists of the Unity Unite Award as well. And our second game is called Last Signal. Last Signal is mostly a Microsoft Connect controlled based game. So you use gestures, you use both of your arms to control a signal wave, the amplitude and frequency of the signal wave, and you try to dodge different falling obstacles and stuff like that. And we got into the finalists of Activision Game Competition, and also we won an award by Microsoft themselves for the best use of Connect. I don't think the award exists anymore, so it was rare. So our third game and also our first release game is called Castle Rider. Castle Rider is a really easy casual platformer, endless platformer where you need to control the hero to dodge different obstacles falling from the sky. And when it released, it once reached the top 10 free ranking in the Chinese AppStore. And right now, till now, I think we've acquired almost over 500,000 users, downloads, I mean. So, and then our second release game is called Hypersquare. It's currently released on iOS only, and the game is a really simple arcade game and mostly target to the Western audience. And I think the game has been released for 3 months now, and we acquired a lot of good feedbacks and a lot of press from different websites such as indiegames.com, IGN. And also one of the main reasons we're here speaking is because we won the Indie Prize Award in Casual Connect Asia. So for those who played Hypersquare before, you already know what it is, but for those who hasn't, I'm just going to show you a quick trailer about it, and hope it works. All right. So, yeah, I know it's really frantic, so maybe you haven't catch a glimpse of it, but that's Hyper Square. It's a frantic arcade game. I'll explain in detail what the game actually is. So the game is all about putting squares inside its target before time runs out. So on the screen there will be a timer counting down, and within the timer you need to put in all the squares that's available to you into its target. And that's like the whole game. It sounds simple, but you actually get 3 different gestures. We use these gestures are most commonly used by the smartphone users. They're already adapted to the gestures already. So we have dragging, we have enlarge and rotate, and it's simple. You just enlarge and rotate with 2 fingers. And even though it's only 3 gestures, when you combine everything together, it became this is what we call a pattern. When the user presented a pattern, they need to figure out what to drag into the target and what to rotate at the same time within the time limit. So it gets really complicated and a little bit frantic at the same time. So like I said, the game has already been released for around 3 months now, and we've been featured on various different blogs and websites around the world. We got on to some Taiwanese press, some from Europe, and then the majority is from the US, which includes IGN, 148 Apps, and also various different websites as well. And also, when we first released the game, we were really fortunate that we got on. We were featured in the front page of over 150 countries, and also we got featured in the top banner in the game section in the US store as well. We also been selected by Best of May app in the US store only. And also, we've been featured by Unity, and then you can see our game putting right next to like Monument Valley and some games we really look up to, which is really awesome. And we also been featured on Ranked in Quality Index. We're ranked 7 on the total apps in May. And of course, we also won the Indie Prize Critics' Choice Award in 2014 in Asia. So let's get right into the topic. So 4 lessons learned. Of course, during the whole process, we learned a bunch of different things, but we tried to consolidate into 4 main lessons that we want to share with you, and hopefully you can take away with it. Number 1, the desire to be like something. So in the beginning of developing Hyper Square, we have the idea of, well, okay, we have a square and we drag it into a target. Let's keep it simple. So we're going to make a simple game, a minimalistic game, because there's only squares and it's all about squares. It has geometric shapes. Yep, squares. That's geometric. So it's basically something like Super Hexagon. So Super Hexagon, if you don't know, it's a what we call a massacre or Twitch game. So you need to control this little dot in the middle, and you need to control it clockwise or counterclockwise to dodge to avoid getting hit by the wall. So it's a really minimalistic game, but it's really, really hard. So if you screw up for like less than a second, you lose immediately. So we're like, okay, we're gonna be like Super Hexagon, so maybe we should just make the game really, really hard. So if you drag the square wrong for less than a second, you lose immediately. Let's do that. So we've been having that mindset for the past, for like almost a year in development. And then we realized something really crucial. So this is a comparison. We have Super Hexagon on the right. It has 2 points of input, left and right. So if you press left, the arrow will rotate counterclockwise. If you press right, it will rotate clockwise. To our game, we have multiple positions of the squares executing multiple different gestures at the same time. So it's basically infinite input points, and we need more than 1 fingers to execute it. So the gesture itself, it's so hard and so complicated that it's almost impossible to make a Twitch game or a Massive or a really hard game, essentially. So what I'm making the point is every designer should ask themselves, is the game suitable to be easy or hard? They need to really look at the core mechanic of your game and then let your game decide it should be hard or easy. So yes, so the takeaway is let your game speak for itself. Lesson 2. What the heck do the players want? So I'm sure a lot of people are wondering exactly the same thing like us, because we really want to know what the players want so we can give them and we'll be popular. So we try to do that. So in the beginning, this is only one example, so it's about the scoring system. The scoring system in the beginning of HyperScore works like this. If you put in one square, you get a combo. If you put in another square within 1 second of the time frame, you build another combo. So each combo builds up and your score will increase exponentially. So if you have one combo, you get 1 point. If you get 2 combo, you get 2 points. If you get 10 combo, you might get like 100 points or something. So your score will like explode if you're really good at it. So we thought this might be a really good incentive for the players to keep playing, so their score will go crazy. But after a lot of play tests, we found out the players didn't really like it because they don't have a clear goal and motivation on the score itself, because they can't really gauge if they're doing good or not, because sometimes if you do all right, you get 5 points. If you do really, really good, you get like 1,000,000 points. So that's like a huge difference. So what we did is we simplified it. Instead of doing a combo system, we just put in, if you drag one square into a target, you get 1 point. That's it. So you can clearly know if you're 1 point behind your highest score, you know that you're one square away from getting that score. So it's really ironic, but in the end, it's kind of like a Flappy Bird, because it's basically the same. If your bird passes one pipe, you get 1 point. It's really simple. It's a really simple scoring system, but this really helps the player to gauge what their progress is in terms of if they're improving or not. So, yep, takeaways. Really understand what the player wants. Do more play tests or do whatever. So number 3, the importance of playtests and soft launch. So as I say in the last point, we do a lot of playtests. We use Flurry as a tool to log in all the activities of the users. You can use anything you want, but we use Flurry. So in the beginning, we asked around 40 friends and family to playtest our game. They're really enthusiastic and really tried hard to play our game and try to beat it. But in the end, we thought, they're friends, so they're more devoted to play our game. How about if we put the game to like other players across the world? So we decided to do something called soft launch. So soft launch, if you don't know, it's basically you choose like a set amount of countries, and you just launch there first to see and hopefully to acquire some users and see some results and through their playtest. So we tried soft launching into 30 countries that aren't in the top ranks of the App Store, and we got 10 downloads total from the first day. And that was really, really depressing. So we're like, okay, let's try to see if there's any other ways to acquire user. So we look at the cost of buying players to play our game, and with our own ability at that time, one user cost $1 or $2, and with our limited budget, we thought it was way too expensive. So we tried to find another way, and we thought of a brilliant idea of promo code giveaway. So we acquired 60 promo codes, and we spit it all out into different game websites and forums and stuff like that. And every single thing is claimed. And then like the following week, we went on Flurry to look at the data. There's only actually 20 people who actually played our game, which is it's a little bit sad as well. So all in all, our soft launch was a failure. It didn't work out as we intended to. But we thought, all right, at least we can make some effort in asking our friends or any relatives to play our games. So in the end, we have around like 100 testers testing our game. We thought it was enough. No, it actually wasn't enough at all. So this is one example. So for this specific pattern, during the playtest. Before the game was released, we have like a 65% rate of clearing it. But after it was released and we look at the data again, it dropped to 20%. So that means over 80% of the players didn't pass through this pattern for the first time, which is a big barrier for them. And we thought it was a really crucial that we need to fix this. So we went on to do an urgent update in the App Store. But the impact on the player was much bigger than we thought because they felt really frustrated with that specific pattern, and a lot of people just quit over there and then stopped playing. So it was a huge impact for us and also on the game's success as well. So the soft launch, so the takeaway of the soft launch with enough players, of course, can really save a game's life. So really make sure you do soft launch well. So number 4, the niche market. So in the beginning, we thought of a target audience that's suitable for the game. So we thought of having targeted towards the niche arcade players, like the real fans of Twitch games that they like super hard, challenging arcade games. So they won't be, so they don't really care about like if the game is freemium or not, because our game at that point, our game right now is still premium. So we thought of appealing to them. So, and also by appealing to them, and hopefully we will be able to compete in the arcade ranks. So that was fine. So we released the game and we took a closer look at the actual ranking itself. So this screenshot was like a month ago, and this was the arcade category on the top ranks of the paid app. So we have Geometry Dash, Buddy Man, Age of Zombies, and we got Angry Birds and Angry Birds Star Wars. Those aren't really niche market. Those are pretty much mainstream. So we're not really doing much by appealing to the niche market because we've been competing with the mainstream, the big shots all the time. So pretty much relying on the niche audience is not the best way to survive in the paid market. You really need to think of another way. Maybe I didn't ask you to choose which category, but make sure you really look into the category and look which game it really belongs to. So the takeaway is choose your category wisely in App Store. So that was the 4 lessons that we learned through while developing HyperSquare. So to recap, 1, let your game speak for itself. 2, understand what the player wants. 3, soft launch can really save your game and also your ass. And 4, choose your category wisely. So you might be wondering what our next step really is. So our next step is, of course, do an update on the iOS version, and also really start to focus on developing an Android version of the app. And the Android version will be separate from the iOS version. It will be free with premium, with IAP purchases inside. And also we're developing another game, which is unannounced yet, but it will also be a free game as well. And that pretty much concludes our session. Thank you. Go ahead.
You mentioned how the soft launch was weak, and you mentioned how you were featured in many stores now.
Yes.
So You didn't make the connection. How has it progressed since?
Soft launch was way before it was actually released. I think it was like half a year before it was actually released. So during that period where we tried to find a lot of publishers at the same time, and then at one point where the game was actually going to be signed with the publisher, until we got an email from the Apple, of course, and then they said they're interested in featuring us. And then at that point, we're like, okay, let's just try having Apple helping us, basically. So we just went along and published the game ourselves.
How many downloads is that?
It was all right. I think it was like 10K or around 10K download. It was a premium app. And yeah.
Do you have in-app purchases?
No, we don't. Yep.
Two questions around soft launch. Did you learn anything good from the few users that you had? And then were there any other methods that you found since then that do work better to acquire users?
For soft launch, I think the users we got wasn't that important, because it's only 20 players, and 20 players, the data, you couldn't really calculate the data correctly with only 20 players. So what we thought is maybe try finding a publisher who can actually acquire user for you, and you can use the data much better for your game.
How big is your team?
We only for this particular project, there's only 3 people developing, but our whole company is 3 plus 3, so 3 full-time, 3 part-time.